The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan, continuing, joined in studio by one of the key members of NC State's magical run to the Final Four ACC championship last year, Casey Morsell. He is also my co-host for Pack Therapy as we transition from football season to basketball season. So check out the podcast Pack Therapy everywhere you can find your podcasts. Like, subscribe, tell your friends, all that sort of thing. Obviously, if you want NC State opinions on basketball, go to the pod. That's where you're going to find a whole bunch of them in case he's going to give you all the details. But I want to first start with just an ACC in general question for you.
Yep.
I'm going to try to do this softly, but it's going to be succinct. What the heck is going on with ACC men's basketball as far as not picking up the premier wins in the non-conference schedule that we're used to seeing?
Yeah. Oh, man. I mean, I think the ACC is taking a major hit from the transfer portal and clicking. I mean, I think you might bring in good individuals, but, the teams aren't necessarily clicking the best in terms of guys not maybe fitting into their roles or just – being promised just too much. Like, it's just not clicking, and I think we saw that from the SEC-ACC challenge. So
is the ACC not getting the talent out of the transfer portal, or is someone like the SEC, that conference, just doing better of assembling the talent once they get it? And that might not be an easy answer.
That's a tough question. I mean, I think the talent's there. The talent's there. It's really just like the pieces clicking together. Of course, now the SEC, they have larger budgets. I mean, those teams for sure, in terms of the NIL piece side of things. But in my opinion, I don't think NIL will lead to necessarily the most success. I think on paper, early on, it may look like it from the ACC, SEC challenge, but it's just, man, like, they're just not syncing. They're just not clicking well. Like, I don't know.
Casey Morsell joining us here, former NC State guard. Like the players you played with and played against last year are the ones that are going to be making the transfer portal and NIL decisions. Yeah. So how much do you think, and this is, I hope I know the answer to this question, but I'm not 100% serious or 100% sure. Say there is another offer, bigger NIL money from some other school, Big Ten, SEC, Pac, whatever. Just some other school.
Yep.
The ACC has you're not getting blown out. It's not like, hey, I offered you $10 and they're offering you $10 million. But does the ACC even that out a little bit with you get to play in certain prestige or there's certain programs like, I don't know. I always wonder, like, playing for a certain coach, how much NIL is that worth? Playing for a certain program, how much NIL is that worth? If you grew up a diehard State fan or a diehard UNC or Duke fan, how much is that worth as far as, like, they could give me $50,000 less and I'll still go there because it's so and so? Like, does that happen at all, or is it always highest bidder?
I mean, I'll be honest. There's always a better price somewhere else. That's something that you can't, like, there's always going to be a better number elsewhere. Okay. At the end of the day, because if some school gives you a number, there's always going to be somewhere more. But
that's interesting.
At the end of the day, like, it really comes down to, number one, where you could win. Because I think at the end of the day, if you win, all of that stuff takes care of itself. I mean,
and you're considering, like, you, meaning the player, is considering that when making the decision.
I mean,
because, like, there are things. True. That's true. There are things from my playing career.
That's true.
It's always if I knew then what I know now, I would have
for sure.
Like, you sitting where you're sitting, you just made a Final Four run.
Exactly.
You just won the ACC championship.
Literally, but that's what I'm speaking from.
You know what winning does to everybody's pockets.
Yeah. Because I was in that position on, okay, I could have went somewhere else before the year, just before this past season, and went and got more. Like, but it's like I loved NC State. I loved the team. I loved, like, the pieces we were bringing in. I always believed that, we could be really good. Like, it may have not clicked at times, but at the end of the day, us winning, and not even going to the Final Four. I mean, just winning the ACC championship,
Yep.
like that took care of everything. Like it was, you know, it all took care of itself. So,
I guess my question is,
yeah,
in the moment, do players understand that?
no,
Okay,
no,
that's
no.
That's 100% fair.
You can't see that deep. You can't see that deep. So I mean, I understand why people will want to have a strong base and you know, early on. If I'm gonna be moving to somewhere, you know, let me be guaranteed to, you know, be well compensated. But I mean, it's dangerous, man. It's dangerous to go somewhere just for a paycheck. All
right, Casey Morsell joining us here in studio on The Drive. Casey, I want to talk to you about your rival, UNC. They're not having the season that they expected to have. And part of the reason being, and I've had conversations with people I trust in basketball about this, is RJ Davis isn't shooting the three the way he did last season, right? It's you know, last season he was 39.8% from three on high volume. We'll call it 40 because it's easy.
Yeah.
He's in the 20s this year. As somebody that's defended RJ Davis, you know, as well as and as often as darn near anybody.
Yeah.
Like, do you just give him are you really looking at RJ Davis and saying, like, nah, you're going to have to hit three before I treat you like a shooter again? Like, how does that happen?
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing is with UNC is that when you lose a guy like Mondo, like, I feel like RJ, I mean, yes, he shot the ball great last time, but everyone was focused on how can we stop Mondo? Like, you know what I mean? Because he was just like a double machine, and we had to basically had about 2-3 guys try to block him out to really get a rebound. So, you know, RJ was like, if he wants to shoot threes, and you'll live with that. Okay, let's try to slow down Mondo. So now that it's like you lose him, let's all just put our eggs on just focusing on RJ, and it's he's getting a lot. He's shooting way more contested shots. The shots aren't as clean. They're not coming in rhythm as much. But I wouldn't leave him open and dare him to shoot. I wouldn't do that at all.
I mean, that was probably the wrong way to word it. But it's, you know, I don't think you have to treat him the way teams treated him last year right now, which is a weird thing to say because he was, you know, he's the Jerry West Award winner. The accolades were there. Going around the ACC, the other team everybody wants to talk about, it's in the triangle, Duke, and you know, right now there's a lot of pressure on a handful of guys there, but one of the you know, just basketball nerd things that I've really liked is Isaiah Evans off the bench. He's just a young freshman that comes in shooting. How much is that like? There's obviously something that is keeping him from playing bigger minutes. I assume the coach it's a defensive, you know, responsibilities
Most
thing,
likely.
or it's a fouls. I don't know what it is. He hasn't gotten in foul trouble, but whatever it is, he isn't there. At what point do you just say, like, this guy's capable of putting up, you know, 12 points in 3 minutes? We have to have him out there, and we'll figure out the defense another time.
When you start losing.
Okay.
Yeah, when you start losing games, then coaches go with, you know, what makes sense. Like, you know, right now it's just like, let's try to, you know, be disciplined, show him the culture. But he's clearly good enough to play. I mean, the defensive stuff, it really takes time to kind of figure itself out. I mean, I think based off of the way it looks like, that's where he, you know, tends to struggle. But if you can hoop, like, it'll all take care of itself at the end of the day.
As an elite defender, then this will be the last question for you. And I'm calling him the elite defender. He didn't say it himself, but he probably thinks it. Do you, like, actually last year you guys didn't play a ton of freshmen.
We did not.
That might be part of it. But is there something you do or a bunch of things you do as the veteran that gets it to help out the young guys that maybe don't get the defensive assignment thing as much? Because in high school you just, you know, we're bigger, taller, faster, stronger, and, you know, who cares if they beat you? You're going to recover and pin it off the glass anyway.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's important. Actually, last year, our NC State team, we actually started Dennis Parker a good amount of games.
But then he disappeared for a while. And there was some, I think, illnesses.
He got sick, so we couldn't play him, you know, towards the end of the season. But yeah, we it was important to kind of get him to fit in and, we knew that like teams wouldn't pay much attention to him, and he was ready for that. Like it was good because he was ready. Like when teams left him open.
That's on offense. On defense, how do you get a freshman up to speed?
Well, it's big when you can come in and already know how to guard one-on-one, right? Like, I mean, knowing one-on-one. I think a lot of freshmen mess up more so with like rotations and different types of defensive. You're changing calls on the defensive end. I feel like that's where they mess up. It's not really more so okay one-on-one. I mean, if I feel like that might be where some players struggle. Yeah, but yeah, like it's really so it's important just to. It's no real way. I mean, there's conversations, but it just takes time and honestly, just getting your ass kicked every day in practice. Really,
that's called the hard way. Casey, we appreciate you for stopping by. Everybody, check out Pack Therapy, the podcast. New episode. It should either be out now or coming out very, very soon. So check it out. Casey and I co-host, and there'll be more where that came from. Casey, appreciate it.
Appreciate you, Tim.